And in some area the cartilage remain in the isolated area, right? So in the nose, then the parts of the ribs, then joint, there is a not bones, that is the cartilage, right? Now the axial skeleton so forms the longitudinal parts of the body divided into the three parts, that is skull, vertebral column, then the bony thorax. Axial skeleton support and protect the organ of the head, neck and the trunks. Okay, so this is the picture of the axial skeleton. Okay, anterior and posterior view is given. So the first one is the skull. This is the part of the axial skeleton, right? So the skull is a bony structure and it supports the structure of the face and provides the protective cavity to the brain. The skull is composed of the two parts, cranium and the mandible. Okay, so mainly the two parts are there, cranium and the mandible. So here in the picture, there are different bones of the skull. This is the parietal bone, right? Then the occipital bone, then the temporal bone, then coronoid process is here, then the zygomatic process of the temporal bone, then frontal bone, then the sphygmoid bone, then the ethmoid, then the nasal bone, then the zygomatic bone, and the maxilla and the mandible. So this is the structure of the skull. Now the bones, so here the parietal bones, the nasal bones, then the sphygmoid bone, then maxilla, mandible, then the temporal, the optic canal, then the frontal. Okay, here the anterior frontonal. This is the anterior frontonal, then the posterior frontonal, then this is the sagittal suture, then the frontal suture, and the frontonal bone. This is the superior view of the human skeletal, sorry, skull. And this is the inferior view. Now the parasinus, paranasal sinus, hollow portion of the bone surrounding the nasal cavity. So this sinus is the nothing but the hollow portion which is surrounded by the nasal cavity. Okay. So you can see in the picture, this is the frontal sinus, then the ethmoid sinus, then the sphenoid sinus, then the maxillary sinus. And the third one is hyoid bone. The only bone that does not articulate with the another bone, serves as a movable base for the tongue. Now the vertebral column. So the vertebral separated by the intervertebral disc. As we know, the vertebra is separated by this disc and the spine has a normal curvature. Each vertebra is given a name according to this location. So here you can see this is the cervical curvature and it contains C1 to C7, right? And this is the thoracic curvature which contains T1 to T12, that is 12 vertebra. Then lumbar curvature which contains the concave 5 vertebra L1 to L5. Then sacrum, that means 5 fused vertebra, and the coccyx, that means 4 fused vertebra. Here it is 7 vertebra cervical, then 12 thoracic, then 5 lumbar, and 1 sacrum and 1 coccyx. And the vertebra is different in the size and morphology. Here, this is the clear picture of different curvature. Okay, and this is the structure of the typical vertebra. So here you can see that is the body, then this is the vertebral foramen, then the lamina, then transverse process, then superior articulate process, then pedicle. Okay, and this is the spinous process, then the vertebral arch, anterior and posterior, right? Now thoracic cage. So ribs, thoracic vertebra, sternum, and costal cartilage. This is the parts of the thoracic cage. Okay, so there are two types of rib, true and false, and the third one is floating also. So the true ribs are directly attached to the sternum. You can see first 7 ribs are included in 3 false ribs are joined to the 7th rib. You can see in the picture that 8, 9 and 10 number ribs is joined with the 7 number. And the 2 pairs of the floating ribs. Okay. So 11 and 12 both are the floating ribs. Now the appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton includes the bones of limbs and the bones that anchor them to axial skeleton. So mainly there are two upper limbs and lower limbs included in the appendicular skeleton, right? So pectoral girdle and the pelvic girdle. So this is the pectoral girdle, clavicles, scapula. Okay, so this is the pectoral girdle, and then pelvic girdle, that is this is the pelvis, like the parts are there: ilium, iliac crest, iliac spine, then acetabulum, then the pubis, then the ischium. Okay, in this picture you can see whatever in the blue color, this mention the axial skeleton, and whatever in the purple, it indicate appendicular skeleton. Okay, now the joints. So first one is fibrous. There are different types of joints. So first one is fibrous. So the fibrous joints connected bones without allowing any movement. For example, the skull and the pelvis, right? So the bones of the skull and the pelvis are attached together by this type of joint. That is fibrous joint, right? And this type of joint is not allow any movement. Okay, so the joints present in the skull and the pelvis, it's known as the fibrous joint, right? The second one is cartilaginous. As the name just suggests, cartilaginous, that means the joint which attached by the cartilage. Okay, so the bond are attached by the cartilage, it's known as the cartilaginous joints. Barabar? These joints allow for only a little movement, such as in a spine or a ribs. Then synovial joint. Synovial joint allow for much more movement than the cartilaginous joint. The cavities between the bones in the synovial joints are filled with the synovial fluid. So in the synovial joint, the fluid is present, that is known as the synovial fluid, which allow the movement, right? So the synovial joint allow more movement than other types of joint, and this fluid is help in the lubricate and the protect the bones. Okay, now amount of movement. By the amount of movement, the joints are classified in these three types: immovable, slightly movable, and the freely movable. Immovable means the joints which are not able to move. Slightly movable, that means the joint which do movement but not that much, in the medium range. And the freely movables, that means the joint which move freely. So that is the freely movable. Now the other types are hinge joint, allow the extension and retraction of an appendage. Elbow and the knee joints are in the hinge joints, right? It included in this type of joint. Now the ball and socket. So a ball and socket joints allow for the radial movement in almost any direction. They are found in the hips and the shoulder. So you can see here. So this is the head of the femur, and which is attached to the part of the pelvis. So this is known as the ball and socket joint, because the head of the femur is like ball, right? You can see in the picture, and this type of joint allow more movement. Okay, then the gliding. So in a gliding, or also we can say plain joint, bones slide past each other. Gliding joints allow the bones to glide past one another in any direction along the plane of the joint, right? So gliding, that means one type of freely movement, right? So general meaning of glide is freely movement. So in the hands and feet, these type of joints are present. As we know, we can freely move our hand, right, as well as our feet. Why? Because of the gliding joint. That is which type of movement, up and down, right and left, we can easily do that type of movement because of the gliding joint. Saddle. This type of joint occur when the touching surface of two bones have both concave and concave region. So in this type of joint, the bone have two sides, that is concave and convex, with the shape of the two bones complementing one another and allowing a wide range of movement. For example, thumb. Uh, we easily move thumb in any direction, right? Why? Because of the saddle joint. So in the thumb, the saddle joint is present. So we can do any type of movement easily, right? So here, this is the all about the skeletal system. Okay.